Welcome to Adobe Illustrator CC 2021, Classroom in a Book, Chapter 11. This one's all about gradients, blends, and patterns. We're going to be creating some famous Frank's hot dog trucks. So let's go ahead and go into Illustrator and look at our end files. You'll see we've got one that we're creating that's got a whole bunch of different types of gradients, and the second one will have this pattern on it. So let's go ahead into our file and open, and grab that L11 start one, and open. Let's do a file and a save as. And let's change it to first initial last name, underscore Adobe Illustrator, Classroom in a Book, Chapter 11, Truck 1. And make sure you're in your Lesson 11 folder and push save. We're going to go ahead and push OK. And now we're going to go ahead and make sure we're all working from the same place. So let's go to Window and Workspace, and let's make sure we recent our essentials so we're all working from the same place to begin with. And so now we're ready to begin. So today we're going to do quite a bit of work with gradients. We've got 3 different kinds. We've got linear and radial and freeform. So let's go ahead and take a peek at our linear gradient. We're going to go ahead and play with the background. So we're going to grab our selection tool, and let's go ahead and click that beige background on the back, and let's grab the fill box over on our properties panel over on the right, and let's double click it until we get the swatches to come open. Make sure we've got the swatches open, and let's select the gradient called black white. No, this is not the color we're going to end up with, but this is the color we're going to use for now. And let's go ahead and leave those swatches showing. Next, we're going to edit those colors in the default gradient that we just created. So let's go to the click gradient options right here at the bottom, and it's going to give us some ways to play with this. So let's go to the black color stop over on the right, and it's going to pop up some colors. We want to go ahead and create our own color. So let's go ahead and choose 0. Let's do magenta 49. I'm going to hit tab. Yellow is 100. Tab, and black is 0, and tab, and we're going to get kind of an orange color. So we like that one. Let's go ahead and hit enter. So we like that. Now let's go ahead and change the white as well. So let's double click that one, and let's go ahead and grab our swatches this time, and we're going to grab this swatch called light blue. It's one of the one that's pre-made. It's got kind of a white corner to it. So we're going to choose light blue. So it's a custom color. So now we can go ahead and hit enter, and we want to save that gradient swatch. So in the gradient panel, which I've got right here, we're going to go ahead and hit the arrow right here to the next of the box. And you're going to see we've got a few different options here. One of the things at the bottom is add to swatches. So we're going to go ahead and add this to swatches. And we're going to close out that gradient panel. And with that background still selected, let's go to the fill box. And let's go ahead and go to that swatches and grab that gradient we just created. And let's double click it. And we're going to go ahead and name it background. And then we're going to push OK. All right, so we can do the show kinds of swatches menu, which kind of looks like a Rubik's Cube down here at the bottom, and we can allow it to just show the gradient swatches, and you're going to see we've got that new swatch we just created. So let's go ahead and apply some different gradients to those shapes. So let's click that gradient named background, the one we just created, and let's go ahead and return it to show all the kinds of swatches. So now you can see we've got all of them. Now let's do a Control S and save what we've got so far. Now with our selection tool, we're going to go ahead and change this gradient just a little bit. So let's grab our selection tool, and we want to make sure we double click on this rectangle because we want to enter the isolation mode. We want to edit the gradient button in properties. So come over here to the right to edit gradient. And we're going to go ahead and select that. It's going to select that gradient tool. And now we're going to get something called the gradient annotator, which is this part right here, which is going to allow us to change the gradient itself. So with the gradient tool selected, we're going to drag the top shape down to the bottom. So we're going to change the direction of the gradient. You can see how quickly that changes that for us. So you can kind of go sideways. You can do a lot of different ways of directing it. Right now for this one, let's go ahead and do up top to bottom. So now we want to go ahead with the gradient tool. We want to move the pointer just off that small square in the bottom until we get kind of a rotation. All right, and let's go ahead and rotate that. You can see how it's rotating that gradient for us. All right, so let's go ahead and double click the gradient tool in the toolbar. So let's double click right over here. And let's go ahead and change that angle value. Instead of the -68 where I did it, let's go ahead and do it to minus 90. Nope, not two minuses. And tab. So that's going to put it right back up and down for us. So it makes it pretty easy to decide where you want it to go. All right, so now we like where it's at. Let's go Object, and let's go Lock. And we want to do Selection so we don't accidentally grab that background. And we're going to go ahead and grab our selection tool and hit Escape and go back to where we were before. So now let's go ahead and apply that linear gradient to a stroke. So now we're going to go ahead and make this hot dog bun actually look like a hot dog bun. And right now it does look like it's a shape, but it's actually just a single path with a stroke on it. So we're going to go ahead and play with that. Let's grab our selection tool and grab the center of that yellow path. And now we're going to go ahead and click the stroke box at the bottom of the toolbar on the left. So bottom toolbar on the left. And now we want to go ahead and click the gradient box, which is right below it. And you're going to see it's going to apply that last gradient used, which is that blue and orange, which is a little bit weird. We are going to play with it. So in the gradient panel now, we're going to go ahead that the stroke is chosen. And we're going to go ahead and apply a little bit different. We want to make sure we've got our linear gradient still. And we want to go across stroke button, which is the third option. All right. And that kind of makes a three-dimensional appearance. So now let's go ahead and change the colors a little bit. So on that blue color stop, because clearly buns aren't blue, we're going to double click. And we want to grab the one called Peach, which is kind of second to last. And we want to hit that orange color stop. And let's go ahead and make it red. So now we've got more of a hot dog color. So let's move the gradients to the slider. You can see that we can hit tab. You can kind of move those around, change the way the different colors are sliding and working together. So it's kind of interesting how you can play with that. So we're going to go ahead and add another color stop here in the middle. And let's go ahead and double click it. And we're going to go ahead and make that orange red, which is another one of our custom colors. All right, let's go ahead and hit Escape. And now we can go ahead and let's make it exactly 50%. So it's going to be exactly right between the two. And now we can add that new color to our gradient by dragging a copy up to that this color panel. So let's go ahead and grab the Option or Alt. We want to drag that peach color stop to the far end over to the right. So we've got this peach one right here. So we're going to hit Alt or Option and drag it all the way over here in between. And right now this is giving our bun kind of a strange look. Don't really like it, so we can just drag it straight down to take it back off. And that's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and drag that new color step to about 70%. And let's go ahead and close that gradient panel and do a Control S to save, and we will pick up some ketchup in the next one. See you there.